lot of students who've joined today are special in many ways. One is that most of them already know ISD adequately well. Many of them are already part of the family because they've all written the first cycle and have already enrolled at ISD. Some others are part of the second cycle. I'm not sure if any of the parents are attending today's session. We sent out an invitation to many of them, and I was particularly keen that parents join the session because during the open days, and Poonam, this is for you, one of the questions that gets asked the most, especially for students who come from the fashion communication and styling department, is really what are the careers in fashion communication and styling? I can see Nitya. Nitya has joined with her mom, isn't it? Hi, Nitya. Very good evening to you, Mrs. Kumalkar. Where are you joining from? You can unmute yourself and you can respond.
Why was unmuted? Hi,
we are in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining our session. I can see Sufi, I can see Priyanshi, I can see Shamika with your mom, isn't it? Oh, look at all the trophies and medals and everything in your background. Good evening, Mrs. Samant. Where are you joining from?
Yeah, I'm joining from Chennai. I'm Shamika's dad.
Okay, Shamika's dad, is it?
And we are here from
Mumbai.
All right, fantastic. Good evening to you. And I think we've met before in one of the open days, haven't we? Shamika? Not as yet? Okay, fair enough. And I can see your dad, Subhash, joining from another stream. And then I can see Sanika Kothavade. Sanika, where are you joining from?
Ma'am, I'm from Pimpalner, Dhule district.
Say that again.
Ma'am, from Pimpalner, Dhule district.
Dhule, okay, great, thank you. Oh yeah, you can use the chat box, that's useful as well. Okay, so without much ado, once again, very good evening to all of you. Warm welcome. On the screen now than when we started, which is great, very encouraging. And today we are going to go straight into a conversation on our fashion communication and styling program and decode this a little bit. And I'm having this conversation with Professor Poonam. And Poonam, okay, let me introduce Professor Poonam first then. And Poonam, can I do it my way?
Absolutely.
All right. I don't know your official formal introduction, but I'm going to do it the way I know you. So Professor Poonam heads the Fashion Communication and Styling program at ISD. She's the founding head or HOD of the department, which means that she actually started the department. This is one of the 7 programs that we offer at ISD. You all do know that the first year is common to all the students. And eventually, when the students come into the second year, they choose their specializations, one of which is the fashion, lifestyle, and communication, fashion communication and styling program. And she's the associate dean, as the slide says, of the School of Business, Fashion, Lifestyle, and Business. That's the formal introduction. Poonam is absolutely unusual in many ways. People are right-brained and people are left-brained, right? So the right-brained are the creative sorts. The left brain are the business-like, computer-like people, more strategic, well-planned. Poonam is a combination of the two. So I say she's a perfect balance of someone who is right-brained and left-brained. And that is why she takes care of the fashion program as well as the fashion business program. Now, when students are in grade 12, sometimes your heart suggests that you do something. The world suggests you do something different. And a little bit like that, Poonam set out to become a doctor. She actually studied medicine, I think, for 1 year, Poonam, in a medical college.
Slightly less than that.
A little under a year.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was inspired by the world around you, but
it was
at some
absolutely.
Okay, there you go. And at some point, she decided to listen to her heart. She left the medical college and pursued a professional course in design. She went on to study fashion design. And thereafter, she completed a business management course from Pune. So she's done it all. She studied medicine a little bit. She studied design. She studied business. and she is the founding head of the School of Fashion Communication and Styling. And Poonam, today we are also going to meet three of your wonderful students. Vama, we've got Vama is joining from Dubai, isn't she?
Yes, I
Yes.
am. Yeah.
Right. And we've got Ria. Ria is joining from, I think, Mumbai. Wait, can I see Ria? And we've got.
Yes.
Okay. So can we have all the students here so we can see all of you, and then so everyone gets to know whom we are going to meet today. So I can see Vama right now, and I can see Ria, and we've got yet one other student from. So thank you for joining and making time to attend our session. I'm waiting for one more to join, and there Rajvi is also joined. Rajvi, you're joining from Mumbai as well. So Vama and Ria are graduates of the school, whereas Rajvi is currently pursuing her final year in the School of Communication and Styling. So Poonam, this is your show, and I'm going to hand over the rest of the proceedings to you. And we'd love to look at the students' work, and towards the end, we have some questions for you. So all yours, Poonam.
Just give me a moment. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. It's always, in school, it's always unique to hear this because you're the only person who probably talks about, all my previous life, which is like, I also don't remember, so much of it now. And I sometimes wonder if, if I have to, sometimes, I wonder if this is the end of it, or at times, you start thinking you want to go back to the old ways. I was just telling Rajvi one day that I think now I'm going to go into wellness and nutrition. And so, life is a journey and you keep discovering new things and there's never a stop point, right? So thank you so much for this. Me and my students are extremely happy. We're very, very excited to, join all of these youngsters this afternoon. And we've planned a really nice evening for them. I'm also very happy because there are three of them who've joined me here, and we're going to shortly start sharing our screen, which is going to tell you a little more in detail about what we have in mind. So just allow me a second. I hope that's visible to everybody.
Yes,
properly. Okay. Okay, so good evening, everyone who's present here and made time to listen to all of us. I'm sure you're not going to be disappointed. Please wait right till the end because there's real excitement right at the end. And you are not going to get bored even for a single second. People who, especially the ones who love fashion, you're going to find so much that you can do with your life and your career. And it's a really intense, industry, and it's great fun. It's hyper at times. It's getting slow, but there's never a dull moment in fashion. So each of us, who's present here, we are constantly engaged with fashion communicators, but we really are not aware at times. But just think about the content that you engage with, not only in the form of not only gives you a great amount of visual delight, but also it informs you, it influences you. So fashion communicators, are essentially storytellers. They're visionaries, they are change makers, and they're very powerful because they have the force to influence you, inform you, inspire you. They have the power to forge connections between brand and you, the audience, and then really unite people and great ideas. So that's what I think about fashion communication. And I've always told my students this, that, there's so much power that lies within you. Of course, at ISTE, we have a very unique offering. We have very thoughtfully devised a program that is a clever confluence of fashion process, systems, business strategy, communication, and experience design. And all our courses within these are designed to equip all of you for both the real and the virtual world and the new world, which you're still unraveling. And
I see sophomore mentioned on your slide. If you can just decode sophomore for many of the students attending to it, sophomore, junior, and senior.
Absolutely. So, sophomore year is your first year of specialization. post your first year studies, which is when you opt for a specialization. And I always say sophomore is a year of exploration because, you know, a lot of you are excited about fashion, but you really don't know the nuts and bolts of this industry. You discover that in this sophomore year. So it's your first year. It's largely a lot of discovery. And then, you know, you become a little more mature. So you go into the junior year. Junior year is extremely tight. It's so much work. You know, because that's the time when you're actually experimenting, you collaborate with the industry, you are constantly experimenting on all your thoughts and ideas. And then you move on to the senior year. Senior is, you know, when you are almost a young professional, we expect that sort of professionalism and attitude from each one of them. It's also the year that you gain eloquence because, you know, that's when you understand the your craft fairly well, but you're sort of now an independent thinking person. And for FCS, it's a specialization within a specialization. So basically, it's a fairly diverse program, but, you know, in the specialization, you can go out to sort of take one pathway, choose one pathway, and, you know, go ahead with it. Largely, it's something that you want to immediately take a job in, or maybe you want to pursue it immediately after your graduation. So I hope that's good enough. Should I proceed?
Perfect. So the second year at ISD is the sophomore after the first year foundation.
Yes, year 2.
And then the students, the third year is the junior and the fourth year is the senior year.
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So like I said, and of course, all these years, you know, you are looking at all of these in different stages. Okay, that you leave it to us, how we've planned it, we'll tell you that. And it's very easy. Don't get confused. How am I going to, you know, study so much? It's put together in a very, like I said, it's very cleverly devised. Of course, you should understand, for us, fashion doesn't mean apparel. All right. So for us, fashion means, you know, lifestyle. It means experience. It means, you know, all kinds of things that your choices are. You have the choice to take it wherever you want. So if you're going to involve fashion, then, you know, you're going to be looking at, you can look at beauty, you can look at wellness, you can look at art, you can look at lifestyle, you can look at any kind of things. I've also said sometimes that you can even look at food and gastronomy, entertainment. So, you know, you can really look at many different verticals. So the program is actually you know, designed, and it equips you with many different things, both for the real and the virtual worlds. We have a really impressive faculty pool. Our faculty pool is a mix of industry professionals and academicians who will deliver this to you. So, you know, you have the best of both the worlds, and, you know, you can really draw connections, and your faculty is out there to help you do that. Learning methods, which ISD really is extremely known for. It's, of course, the you know, curriculum from Parsons, and definitely it's very new age. It's something that we believe in completely. It's interactive. It's integrated with technology. You know, students learn whatever that they have to. They constantly, you know, coming back with many new things. The entire ecosystem of fashion is really large. So, you know, whether you are inquiring something, you're reflecting, you're more of a, you know, a little more of a reflective, you know, a little more person who wants to write. And I mean, you know, you'll see that with some of the students who are present there. Sometimes, you know, not everybody's an extrovert. Some people are introverts and they want to just mull over certain thoughts. So there's also a lot to do there. I don't think that it's just about extrovert people. So it's reflective. It's very integrative. You're not only doing projects within the semester, but also, you know, there are electives which are designed so you can even interact with the whole school. And sometimes within the semester, it's interconnected. So if you've taken fashion photography, you're doing it with history of fashion, and you're also delivering outcomes through fashion styling. It's very collaborative. Students get together and, you know, ideate, and they create great concepts. Fashion is super agile. The world expects a lot of agility from each one of us. And hence the course also is extremely agile. So, and I think you should be very nimble in your, you know, attitude, in your being, so that you're able to really navigate the world of fashion really, you know, swiftly through. Okay, so that's a larger pedagogy. The whole fashion ecosystem is accessible to you, but let me tell you, we don't create any kind of products. That's very important for you to know, because we don't design products. We design experiences, we design communication, we design, and when I say products, of course, tomorrow if you do packaging, then you will create those, but largely you don't make people come with fashion design, they make outfits, garment construction. You don't do all of that. So that's the difference largely between, opting for fashion design or fashion communication. Now, everybody here, even in the beginning, I heard that, people wonder, what is it that you do once you're a fashion communicator? Now, there are many things that you can do. It's, like I said, it's choice-based, but popularly, fashion communicators are known in the world by as fashion stylists, image makers. They are creative directors, they are fashion editors, forecasters, they're brand managers, they're brand strategists, they're marketing communicators, they're public relation experts, they're influencers, social networkers, graphic designers, photographers, bloggers, writers, journalists, archivists, curators. There is a niche of also for such people. They're researchers. If you look at the business of fashion, there's an entire pool of people who are constantly researching. If you look at WGSN, they always are asking for, people with strong research skills. So those are fashion communicators. And of course, you can take this in a corporate background, or you can do it on your own as an entrepreneur. You can be a freelancer, consultant. Anything and everything is open to you. It's absolutely your choice, and see what the world demands at that point of time. So if you want to put names to fashion communicators, these are the popular roles that they perform. Okay.
Your question right here.
Sure.
Just so the first one, it says fashion stylists and image makeovers, right? And I think we all
makers. Yeah.
Image makers. Okay. What kind of organizations do the stylists work in? I do understand that they work in retail or they work for social media, but could you just tell us, where do stylists get?
I think now stylists work everywhere. They work personally for you. They work in corporate retail, e-commerce. They work for magazines. They work for, in brand communication. So all of these areas, stylists work. And in fact, stylists are the new visionaries, because, if you look at a runway show, the designer just puts together a collection, but it's the stylist who actually puts the entire collection together on the ramp. So back end fashion weeks, the stylist is working. If you look at magazines, big, publications, digital publications, there's a stylist there. The stylist, even for, people like, any one of us, because there are personal stylists. So I don't know if you all have heard of a company called Style Cracker. In fact, they really make it big on the role of a personal stylist. And that's how they have actually created a new business model. So today, stylists are everywhere, and stylists actually, for us, styling is actually brand communication or any kind of it's a narrative. They are storytellers, but they use the visual content, and through what they actually express, they also bring out a lot of reflection of society and new change that they bring. And I'm going to give you some examples, when we go to the students and showcase you their projects.
That would be useful, but someone has sent me a direct message and I want to bring it up right away rather than leave it for the end. What do archivists and curators do in a program such as this, or rather from a program such as this?
Yeah, these are definitely a little bit more niche than the regular ones. Okay, there are very intense kids who go in for being an archivist or somebody who's wants to curate things. So there are museums, all right. Then there are people who want to archive things, largely for people who want to study museums and they want to have jobs in museums, or also for brands, because everybody's thinking of archiving. We're going to shortly sort of transfer into the metaverse, and the metaverse is going to require, the metaverse is going to bridge the gap between times. So if I have to come back and talk about the 90s, for me, I was a part of the 90s, but can you imagine, what do you kids imagine the 60s to be like? I mean, for that matter of fact, what do you imagine the 90s to be like? And how are the 90s going to come back to you? So, there's a combination of art direction, archiving, movies also need archives, photographers need archives, all kinds of people need archives. So these are the people who especially put things together for you. So that's what, the job of an archivist or a curator is. Is that fine?
Okay. That works. Thanks, Poonam.
Yeah, I always want to know, what do these kids think about the 90s? Because, they like, they think 90s is vintage. So, sometimes I do get a shock about calling 90s vintage, but that's what it means to them. So when you watch all these Netflix shows and, you watch, suppose, Crown, or you watch, suppose, something that is, from the past world, you need people who've done research and are able to put things together.
Ask the students right away, because all of them are early 2000s, right? I mean, I think they're all born 2001, 2, 3, possibly. So maybe you can use the chat box and tell us what you think of fashion in the 90s. Is that your question, Poonam? Fashion in the 90s?
You can tell us what is the fashion in 90s, and please don't Google, just try to think, what is 90s like. And a lot of 90s is actually late 90s and Y2K, early 2000 actually coming back right now. Everybody talks about that. So let's see what is in your memory when you say the 90s. Okay, so I'll move on. And flashy 90s. Retro bottom of the 90s? I don't think so. Okay.
Cars, lots of patterns. Is that 70s or is that 90s? Baggy clothing, 80s or 90s? I'm not sure.
Anybody remembers the word grunge?
I do.
Oh, wow. Great.
I love grunge romance collab outfits.
Yeah. So do you wear a lot of grunge? Do you try to incorporate that?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay, we'll get back to you. Yeah, or you get back to us. All right, so I'll move on. And so coming back to, that was what kind of careers you have and what kind of now career opportunities that are there for you. This is a slide, and this slide actually tells you about where all the fashion communication and styling students have been working. We've had, 3 batches, 2 batches graduating, and we have the 3rd batch almost about to graduate. This slide actually tells you where the students are currently working. And if you look at it, they're placed at some of the best names in the fashion that the fashion industry has to offer, whether in India or abroad. These are all the places that you will have somebody from fashion communication working for you. So it's a great network of your seniors and alumni present everywhere. Now, some examples I got in just for you to understand what is a journey of a fashion communication student. I've always said that, fashion communicators are multi-hyphenates, which means they do a lot of things. They juggle several professionals. They have several skills, and they can also be, great specialists when they make up their minds. So that's Diva. If you look at Diva's journey, she started from, just being an intern at Miss Malini, went on to do marketing, then became a stylist at work, did some awesome work there, and then went on to do brand strategy. Currently, she's at Nykaa, and she's handling really great international brands. She's working in the marketing team for international brands there. We have Amrita, again, very diverse in the kind of work they do. These are internships and, of course, part-time jobs that they do while they're studying. Social media, graphic design, styling intern for Bollywood movies, backstage at Fashion Week, backstage at Bombay Times, going and doing styling for a really popular publication, famous publication like Bazaar, and then currently now being a brand associate for Pure Art, which is a cosmetic and beauty and wellness company. Anushri, of course, did graphic design for a sustainable label called Katran. Makers and Markers also was a sustainable label. And then now currently she did a beautiful thesis on the crafts of Kanjivaram saris, and she went there, did her entire research with them. And then she did a lovely thesis on the Kanjivaram saris. And currently, but she's working at DDB Mudra as an associate creative partner. So you see the journeys, look at the way the journeys have, evolved, and then they go out to do something, and who knows, tomorrow she would be going back into crafts, learning all the really ropes of the industry from DDB, and then maybe go back to what she really is, perhaps the thesis revokes in her mind, and then she goes back to do that. That's the kind of talks and conversations also she's been having with me. So these are some small journeys that I was excited to show you, given the kind of time frame we are in. But what I have really is the most interesting part is the student experience, section that we have planned for you. Like you've been introduced, there are 3 of my fabulous students who are going to be talking to you about their experiences. This also is the highlight of the evening. Of course, we're trying to have a conversation which is going to make sense to you. Try to get as much meaning out of it, because we're not going to give you just a monologue. We're going to tell you through their work how they're going to be probably also answering your questions by the work that you see. So I'm going to start with, I have 2 alumni and 1 senior year student with me. I'm going to start with, Ria, who's actually the assistant stylist at a consulting firm called Grain Fashion Consultancy. I think Ria's boss is also there present here. I'm not too sure if Mandeep is attending, who's a fashion editor. And Ria's been my, student from the class of 2021, and she graduated last year. In the short journey of hers, Ria's done many things that she can actually go and talk the entire evening about it. But we've really tried to choose some of her exciting projects at Grain, and she's going to take us through that. Ria was also my class representative for that batch. She's very enthusiastic. She's always positive. But Ria was always very focused to be a stylist. She did other projects, but her focus was always styling. Right, Ria? So,
Yes,
Ria, you know what? You've been associated with such big names and labels, be it Masaba, be it Papa Don't Preach, Siddharth Titler, Brights Today, and so many more like A.R. Rahman, Ananya Birla. Ria, I really want you to tell me about one project, which I think is everybody's favorite designer, and that's Masaba. Okay. I want you to take me through this shoot that you did with Masaba, that you were I'm going to now hand over the show to you. Most welcome. I'm very happy that you're here. Let's hear it from you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the lovely introduction as always. And I'm glad to be a part of this talk today. So as Poonam ma'am mentioned, House of Masaba is and has always been my favorite brand. And especially I've been head over heels with Masaba since forever. And when we came to know that we had to do this shoot, I was more than excited. So what happens as a stylist is you get a brief from a designer, then you have to ideate over it. You have to see what the collection is about, what sort of creative direction are you going to head towards. And especially if you see these red bindis, red circles that are made, those are symbolic of Masaba's brand. If you see over her logo also, there's a red bindi, which is a sign of unity and freedom for women. And what size you are, no matter what height you are, she will make perfect clothes for you. And so this, we basically wanted to talk about inclusivity. And we also, casting is very important in a shoot like this. You have to know what sort of models are you going to incorporate, because through the models, your clothes speak, right? So that's all it was. We had to like go to the shoot early in the morning. So mostly shoots start around 7 a.m., 8 a.m. People leave early in the morning, go to the set, make sure everything's in place, your accessories are there, jewelry is there, hair and makeup is on time, and then the models have arrived, the clothes are properly ironed and stuff. So it's a very long process. So it's not just about putting outfits together. It's not just about your jewelry or your shoes or your clothes. It's an entire process that you have to take care of.
Priya, you know what? There is, of course, the day in the life of a stylist that you will tell us elaborately on.
Yeah.
But, I want to know, was Masaba available on this day during the shoot?
Yeah.
And did you source all the jewelry and everything for her? Or
Yeah,
was
so
it?
we sourced the jewelry.
Okay. And how long was this?
So some part of the jewelry is made by Masaba herself, like the hatili and the symbolics that she has. And the other part of the jewelry was sourced. There were 2 jewelers on set.
Okay.
And one jeweler actually flew from Ahmedabad to Mumbai just for Masaba shoot. So that's how dedicated people are.
Great. And then you get to meet so many different kinds of people also on set, right?
Yeah.
And how much time did it take you
Yeah.
to prepare for this shoot? Like once the brief is given, then you had to go sourcing. But here you wouldn't have had to source because Masaba's clothes were the actual pieces. But you must have had to decide with her, right? Which one am I going to shoot and when and how from the large
So it
range?
usually takes like a week or two, the planning, the processing. It actually, the idea comes to us way before, and then planning and ideating, sourcing, looking for the right brand for the right amount of clothes is very important. You can't like choose any jewelry you need to see what goes with what, and then that process starts. When you connect with the jewelry person, you go for sourcing, select pieces, then that's how like.
Okay, all right. So, thanks, Riya. Of course, this is a very captivating work, and I'm sure, so this is what I was talking about when it is visual content, how styling actually talks about brand communication through this. It's so impressive and really, very captivating, very strong shoot that she came up with. She got a lot of great feedback on social media also on this, I remember. And I was so happy because, there was one of my students involved in this. So that's exciting. Now, that is visual content. And but what really adds the soul in fashion communication? And I believe it's the textual content, okay? And I know your generation doesn't read as much, but there's textual content everywhere, even a headline, even a small, like Masaba woman, describing the Masaba woman. There's somebody who's writing that for you, right? And there is someone very special who I'm going to introduce next, who's going to tell you a little bit more about content, especially she's someone who is very passionate about the textual part of content. I would like to now introduce Vama Kothari. Vama is an editorial writer. She's joining us from Dubai right now. Vama's had an exceptional journey, and in such a short period of time. She's also graduated last year. But she's someone who's a fashion communicator, but focused on fashion writing and journalism, if I may say so. But she was focused. She came to Bombay. I remember, Rama, I can never forget that conversation I had with your mom and me at, I think it was at Kitchen Garden. And then, we spoke almost for 4 hours. And at that time, I think when she looks back, she must be so proud. Right now, she must be so proud of you. I always think of that conversation.
I really hope she is. She is.
She's told me that, by the way. So I think she is. Okay. So, your journey seems so magical. It's really about, and people just see awesome outcomes, Mama, when they see people doing things. But I know the content that you create educates people, your readers, it persuades them to buy. It also creates such a lot of interest in businesses. And you're always passionate about it. So, most of us feel writing is a very personal journey. But I want you to share about this whole hustle, the whole hustle behind the magic. And tell us a little more about your journey from, the day you thought about joining fashion communication and then doing writing.
Okay, so I think for me, when I was in school, I decided that I was definitely going to pursue something creative. But at the same time, I always was a more textual person. So I couldn't be just that person who only did good photos or only had a taste for styling. I also had taste for something really heavy and textual. And at the same time, I remember I was quite good in literature as well, like literature. And my grades were pretty good. I'm not going to boast, but it was pretty good when I got my exam results and stuff. And I was like, why don't I try combining something I love and something I'm good at together? Sorry?
That's okay. No, you continue. There's some disturbance. Don't worry.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. And that's when I decided I'd come to Bombay. Obviously, like I shifted from Dubai to Bombay, found a home there, made myself comfortable. And in college, I realized that there's so many small nooks that I can put myself into under fashion communication and styling that I think towards the second or third year, I was pretty sure, I was very headstrong on doing editing and fashion journalism. And I decided that this is my space, this is me. There was more than just the glamorous factor to it. There were many factors I saw before choosing this as a forever thing, as before deciding I would be in this forever. And I've written for a couple of magazines, I've contributed, and I think the one that you're displaying right now is my first ever article in print, which went was published last year in, I think, August last year in College Times. So just for reference, I came back home after the whole COVID situation, and College Times is UAE's the best newspaper over here, and it also has the highest circulation rate over here in Dubai. So it not just comes in like Dubai under your doorstep, but like in all of the 7 Emirates under the UAE. So it is the best magazine with the highest circulation. It was pretty nice to see this on my doorstep one day when I just opened my door in the morning. Yeah.
That is so nice and so sweet. It's very heartening, very encouraging, Vama, to a lot of our students who may want to take fashion writing. I know it's not easy to pursue a career in writing, but, look at your journey. And there's so much more, if you go back to the slide, I was seeing this little link and there are like, I think 5 or 6 articles. If you Google Vama Kothari, you'll get all of this. So that's great, Vama. Very inspiring. And we will see more of your work later.
Sometimes I Google myself as well, just to see what's being said. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, there's a lot, right? So of course, now we move on to my next speaker, and she is, oh, sorry, Vama, even this was a part of College Times. Okay, I forgot to actually, the weekend magazine of theirs, which is also, but we're going to talk a little more about it later. All right. So I'll go on to my new speaker. Next speaker, and that is, of course, Rajvi, who's my current student. She is my thesis year, senior year student. And right now, Rajvi is actually very busy working on her thesis, which is actually talking about, reviving, designing luxury experiences based on consumer choices in a very hardcore sales-driven Indian market. So Rajvi has her hands full. She's somehow managed to come for this. Rajvi is also our CR for one of the batches in the senior year. She is somebody who displays exceptional leadership skills and qualities, okay? She's just made everything so smooth, just like Ria for us. And these are all the extra things that you have to do, right? And this really builds a lot of character in you. But Rajvi is also somebody who relentlessly pursues her dreams. She's one student who has, I think, never had a break. Rajvi, I think you never take holidays. I've never heard you take holidays. Anytime her work is always ready, if it's 8 o'clock in the morning or if it's 12 o'clock in the night, she's always ready with her work. So she's very, very determined. And, Rajvi, after listening to Vama, I was just thinking, and I must ask you this question. There are tons of industry projects that you've done while studying with us at ST, right? Do you somehow correlate your engagement in academia with the real world experiences that these 2 alums are talking about?
Definitely. Oh, firstly, thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm really flattered. And, while I was listening to both Ria and Vama talk about, content creating through styling or journalism, and that's when I realized Dora, one of my academic projects that I did with a Jaipur-based brand, was really fitting into this entire picture. Here, my main aim was to create content for that brand. And out there, it did not only mean their social media. So while we also created posts for their social media, it was not just that. We were looking at magazine articles, we were looking at their website and blogs to put in. So it was such a wholesome and round experience where the funny thing is that everything that I did in college earlier, and then I started doing Dora, I started remembering, oh my God, I've done that. Oh my God, I've done this. So in a way, it really helped me build a strong base for the brand itself. And I'm so glad that they actually took my pitch of creating a blog page and they've continued with it. So sometimes to see that is really wonderful.
I know. And Rajvi, this is just one of the projects that we are showcasing right now. You've worked with, I think, so many, right, whether it's agencies or digital marketing agencies or brands or publications. This was just one of the class projects that she did, which was a collaboration. And I think she also bagged an internship with Dora after that, but she then decided to go back to, concentrate on her studies that year. So Rajvi, thank you for that. And I think, really very exciting to hear this, So, everything that we do in school somewhere obviously is linked to the real world of, that's the experience that we make sure that we give you at ST. And I want to come back to Vama. Vama, you've done interviews, right, as a writer, and I think it's one of the most enjoyable, delightful experiences or assignments journalists say that they have. So I heard that, I read that you've recently interviewed Shubika, who's the founder of Papa Don't Preach. Again, very, very favorite of everybody. So I really want you to tell me about your experience working with interviewing Shubika for Papa Don't Preach. What is the preparation that you did, and as a writer, what is your takeaway post that interview? So
it was, first of all, it was just so surreal to interview her, because I think ever since I joined fashion school, I've had my eyes on her label. Not so much her, but her label, yes. And it's been my favorite ever since. And the minute I actually got enrolled into like a big company like ITP Media Group, I was able to really achieve my dreams, and and even to write for Khalees Times, that means it gives me the pathway to actually speak to influential people and chase my dreams, educate my audience, XYZ. So one fine day, I decided that I want to contact her, sent her 15 emails, and none were responded. And then I saw a number somewhere on the website. So I made a call from my personal phone to India's number, which also I didn't go through for the first 2-3 times. And then someone picked up, and then I said, I have a press opportunity. I used all the right words, the big words. It was just really relentlessly trying for them to get back to me. And they did. And then they shared her personal number. And then I got in touch with her, did the interview. We did a Zoom call. It was so nice to speak to her. We went on for like 2 hours. It was out in print in 15 days. She was in the country, so she was able to see it. This is the one. I was in touch with the graphic designer because I wanted this interview to be like, look really good. So I took special attention with the graphics and everything. It was really nice. And she even sent me a beautiful bag towards the end as a thank you.
I know, I saw that was a gift, right?
It was so good. It's like right here. Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So perks of being a fashion journalist writer, right? And definitely the perks come in later. Look at the amount of hard work you had to do, even if you were representing a fully evolved company, with like going from IT to the amount of, you have to pursue people, to get something out of them. And this is really great. And also as a writer, I always felt that the ability to recognize this uniqueness to go out to interview someone is splendid, Vama. And I think you do it very, very well. So, thank you for sharing that. But there is a really there's a really hidden small story about Vama and Ria that I want to disclose. So Vama and Ria were, I call them partners in crime. They probably did all their projects together in school. Okay, there was not a single project I used to get really, but I used to let them do it because I would get fabulous outcomes. Okay, so that was my greed. So Vama and Ria, always partners in crime. They always work together. And while when Vama was doing this article on Papa Don't Preach, Ria informed me that the shoot pics that she used were all from the shoot that she had assisted on. So this is really, there's some sort of a serendipity involved here, I must say. And Shubika is so clear about her visual story. Okay, she has a very strong visual storytelling, and though she's just a bridal designer, like many in this country, there is something stunning about her, visuals and her campaigns. So Ria, the focus is on you, and I want you to tell me what was the experience working behind this particular campaign. It was called Nazar Na Lage, right?
Yeah. So
over to you.
Shubika as a person is extremely calm, and if you see her label, it's so loud and over the top. So I remember during while doing the shoot, the focus was on the nazar. That, I mean, sometimes we just overlook this fact, but this is a very important and a very, something that you should take in consideration, because it happens many times that, okay, if you say some things to people that, oh, nazar lag jayega and stuff like that, so she wanted to incorporate that. So then the creative direction was, how to sort of show that boldness of nazar. So then creating this larger than life balls and painting them. So these are basically, they are gym balls that have been painted into eyeballs to portray the nazar. Yeah. Okay. So all of these shapes, small and big size,
all giving us some hacks, BTS hacks. Okay, yeah.
I mean, being a stylist is all about hacks. It's all about jugaad, as they say. So this is, and her clothes, I mean, this is just so brilliant. And once you wear a Papa Don't Preach, you just know that this is a Papa Don't Preach outfit. And to portray that, to portray inclusivity, like all body types and sizes, you know, how you look at yourself in the mirror and how you feel about yourself, appreciating yourself is more important than anything nowadays, especially in a world where there's so much of anxiety and depression and a lot of bad negativity. The best thing you can do is focus on yourself and love your body how it is. So that's a shown portrait through this.
It's absolutely stunning. Okay, Ria, the shoot is so beautiful and so Papa Don't Preach, breaking certain boundaries, and, you know, at the end of the day, showcasing a lenga in this kind of, this kind of visual imagery is fantastic. And you're so lucky to work with such interesting people.
Yes.
I'm sure it's tough, but it's really very gratifying as well. So that's great. I'm going to get back to you, Ria, and I want to now move my focus to Rajvi. So, you know, Rajvi, like now these two girls are talking about styling and styling for brands and doing campaigns for it. You know, we have a very large vertical of business, you know, when we are studying. So we have an entire business strategy, communication strategy vertical. And, you know, I really want you to take us through this part of, you know, the world that we cannot ignore. I've always said that, you know, while people say that fashion is artistic, fashion is creative, fashion is so gorgeous, but I think fashion is always business at the end of the day. Everybody talks about ROI, whether it's an influencer or a stylist or a creative director, because that the bottom line really matters. So I think you must tell people about the business aspects. And you've done so many beautiful projects in luxury, you've done so many beautiful projects otherwise. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your projects in business?
Sure. So I was just going to say that, you know, while styling and journalism are really important under the umbrella of fashion communication, I felt like my calling always had been related to marketing, communication, and the business aspect of it. And the program is so diverse in the sense that right now I'm learning business models, understanding the luxury market. I'm also learning about the metaverse. I mean, that's completely new. And about the project on screen, I always like to say this: as a fashion communicator, you're often the ideator, the creator, the team leader, the person who also does the scut work. And I think that project explained everything, where you design a store from scratch, be it the exteriors, be it the interiors, you create mood boards, decide the texture, everything. And it's a lot of brainstorming, but at the same time, I feel like even though it's intimidating, it's really satisfying when you see the final outcome. Just how it happened with 10 Corso Como, it was a concept store where I, you know, completely redesigned what the store should be like, to adding rooftop gardens, to deciding the dessert bar. And I also created the website for the brand. And I have never created a website before. So from scratch to learn the process was really intriguing. And also at the same time, you know, you want to try and maintain the brand's aesthetic throughout. Another fun aspect of fashion communication is planning events. So when I took this project up where Cartier wanted to launch in Cairo in Egypt, I was like, what would the event be like? So I took the common point with both the brands where they both, you know, really value history and created an event around it for the museum. So where they get to see like the Cartier's jewelry. So what I've realized in this entire process is that sometimes even when you're lost, you'll find that one link that connects everything through. And I think that's what fashion communication is about, to link through things and, you know, show it in the best way possible.
Thanks, you know, Rajvi, for bringing it all together, putting this whole cohesive thought for it, because, you know, a lot of students might wonder, there's so much that this course involves and this program involves, but, you know, everything that we do is really important. Okay, guys, when you will go out in the world, you will realize that, oh, how is it that I don't know the business part of it? How is it that I don't know the aesthetic aspect of it? Everything, even as a graphic designer, you will, you know, have to work with so many different kinds of people, and you have to deliver many things that, and we don't want you to, you know, we don't want you to not understand something which is going to create some sort of an embarrassment. So I think the course really makes sure that you get many important aspects and get it in an immersive fashion. It's not like just touch and go. So, you know, The students work very, very hard. They're not saying that right now, but meet them in college and you'll know that there's never a dull moment in the course and there's always something happening. So thanks, Rajvi, for this. Do you want to talk about this one? I think I forgot to talk about.
Yeah. So since most of my college was in the pandemic, in the lockdown and online, I had one of this assignment where I had to create like a social media campaign for the brand Alaya. I'm so glad that right before the lockdown, we had done fashion photography's course in the class. And I think that really helped me because, you know, it helped me understand how to manage the lighting, do a little bit of art direction and place the product in a certain manner. And I think that's what helped me do this project. So I just thought it'll be a great addition here.
Yes, absolutely, Rajvi. The product photography and all that really matters, no? And you know, now when you're left on your own, you managed to do this completely in the pandemic. I do have some questions to ask you because you've actually studied a large part of large part of your education in the pandemic. So you know, we'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go to this next section, which is now going to be student spotlight. What we plan to do in this section is to take you more intensely into their journeys. And we will first start with Vama. Vama has a special presentation that she's made for all of you, and she's going to talk about it. Vama, give me a moment. You can start with your talk while I just change and get that presentation on. So over to you, Vama. The spotlight is on you now.
Thank you. I feel like the spotlight's been on me quite a bit, as of yet, but that feels amazing, honestly. Just a minute. Are you showing the presentation over
I
here?
am. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to just open it up, okay? Because just give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So you can just start. Is there someone want to ask us a question or anything while I get this on?
I'm seeing there's a guy called Sufi on the group who has been saying a lot of fashion related stuff. And I just feel like he's a budding fashion person. I can see it.
Yeah, I have interviewed Sufi and I've had a very long conversation with him.
Oh,
and I
that's
said,
amazing.
Sufi, you are only going to join fashion communication.
Right? Like I can see him in styling. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, you got it right. Wow, Vama. Just a second. I think something happened. Just a second. Okay, one second. Let me just share it once again. Yeah, Sufi. So remember we met. And we spoke so much on styling, you know, while I was interviewing him. So, and I think you were the first person to put on your camera. So I was actually, you know, seeing what
I was not supposed to put on my camera in the interview?
No, right now, not later. I said I recognized you when you put on your camera.
Our interview was, and I was really excited to see you here today. I was like, I know someone here. So this is going to be good.
Okay, there you go. Vama, so this is the thing. Can you see it?
Yes, I
I'll
can.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just scroll down, all right?
Okay. So in the first present slide, basically I mentioned my choice of choosing fashion and why I chose it. And I feel like everyone shows inclination from, nobody just decides to enroll into a fashion course just by whims and fancies. They always have something deeply rooted in them which calls for it. So I think when I was in school, my dad started bringing home AD, like Architectural Digest and Commercial Interior Design, all of these interior design magazines, which sort of really, just to broaden my horizons, like as a parent, he was doing his job. And it was nice because when I saw those visuals, those images, that opened my creativity and I was just so inspired looking at them. And then so when I look at magazines, I feel like they're my actual textbooks. They've taught me more than I think my actual textbooks could possibly ever have. That's when I realized I want to do something. Then I shifted cities and then I came to Bombay. I think we can go to the next slide. I came here with a vision and I also didn't get, what do you say? I don't want to say this very adult dialogue, which everyone says, I didn't get distracted. When I say I didn't get distracted, I mean, I did not put myself in extracurriculars because my goal was set in stone this time. So I wasn't going to do the side, concerts or people do these little things on the side. So I wasn't there for that. I was very dedicated to my course. Also, I never fell into the pressures of taking like vacations every 6 months. I know you have the opportunity to, and everyone feels the need to. Trust me, when you get older, you're just going to feel the need more. But if you can, if you can get yourself right, then you can definitely get yourself on track right now. So I always stayed home, either in Dubai or in Bombay, and I took that time out to do internships during the vacation period, and that was pretty good because and I also made sure that I did every internship in different segments of fashion communication. So this is my first year where I interned with Emily Schaefer. She's a fashion blogger in Rochester, and good for me, I had my brother in Rochester who knew her. So he was able to put in a good word for me. And then I stayed at my brother's and I was interning with her. So I got like this personal styling assistant kind of experience for a month that I stayed in the US. So that was my bit for styling. Then I also interned with that, kind of struck my interest more in styling, clothes in general. So then I interned with a celebrity stylist called Shifa Jalani. I'm not sure if you guys know her, but she does styling for celebrities. Like she did it for this lady you can see here in red. Her name is Aditi Hundia. She was Miss Supernatural something of 2018. And she also was, who's Miss World? I'm not getting the name. Who was Miss World a couple of years back? Manushi Chiller.
Manushi Chiller, yeah.
So she was the personal stylist for Manushi Chiller throughout her entire Miss India journey XYZ. So I was able to assist her for a month. So trying out bits and pieces from every small little nook I could. Then I got my first big cut, which was really big for me as a human being. And I celebrated quite a bit like internally because I got my internship as a digital writer in Vogue India. And it was a 3-month internship where I had to assist the team with publishing and like purging articles online to the system, to the website. And that also gave me the chance to write a few articles. And I explicitly asked to write a few articles. That was not really in my description, but I made sure that, I made my way through. I spoke well, I impressed them, XYZ. And now I have like 5 articles under them. Then I moved to, so that was a very, very, what do you say, like a strong internship that made me just realize so many things about myself and about the industry. Also, when you sit in the office, you see the editors, right? So you learn so much when you just look at them. Nothing is more educational than just looking at people and understanding how they do things. So that's where you learn most major chunk of how to behave in life. Then I moved on to a communications designing sort of like an internship for this hybrid diamond brand based in Singapore who wanted to make their cut in Bombay. So I was acting like, I was assisting them to get their brand in Bombay. That went on for like, I think 6 months, to be honest. Then there was a bit of a silent gap, but I was always doing other things on the side, but I wasn't doing a major internship with a brand. Then is my year 4 when I came to Dubai over here. So the picture of me and the other woman, her name is Mariam. That was my first internship in PR. It was in JLT, went on for 6 months. That was amazing because everything I know about PR was taught by them. They were a wonderful bunch. PR is like really huge over here in Dubai. It makes a lot of money. So in case you have a commercial mind, do keep your eyes on PR. It's pretty good. After that,
Sorry, Vama, just a little bit of intervention. I think with Sociate, you also did your capstone, right? With the ethical, yes. So I think you can talk about that also.
So while I was in PR, obviously, like you've got to be smart all the time. I saw this opportunity to collaborate with the brands. They were liking my work. So then I asked them, is it okay if I use you guys to do more research on you, to help you with this and that? And then I used this brand for my thesis and I produced a fashion film for them. And they were very, very cordial with me. They assisted me with their clothes. They gave me information, helped me with stats, everything. So yeah, if you're nice to people, they're going to be nice to you. You just have to know how to use the right words. And after that, I took a trip to the US just as soul searching because I wanted to know if I wanted to do a post-graduation. But, and I would also count that as one of my achievements because that's when I realized I do not want to do a post-graduation. So that was a big realization moment as well. After which the second last picture you're seeing is in a very fancy PR agency over here called For. You can Instagram them, they're really huge. They represent Karl Lagerfeld, Carolina Herrera, Alexander McQueen, D Squared, Han, all of these wonderful fancy tier 1 clients in Dubai. And it was just a dream, literally a dream to sit in that office. You see that's my office. Can you imagine working there? It was just beautiful. It felt really nice. But then I got a better opportunity in ITP and I left for ITP right now. So now here I am as an editorial writer, and I finally got my cut in writing. So I always wanted to do writing, but it was just about how I could get there. And all of those pictures you saw were my stepping stones to writing, the build up to this main story. And now, so I work as an editorial writer at ITP Media Group. In this slide, I've tried to lure you into this profession for my pros and cons. So if you want me to explain the pros, it's an extremely fulfilling job. I feel amazing every time an article of mine gets published. Obviously, we have targets. It's a very, what do you say? There's a lot of demand. You need to be quick. You need to be on your feet. You need to be crisp. But it's an extremely fulfilling profession, endless gifts. So all of those little images that you see, they're all gifts that people give. I'm not trying to like really sound materialistic right now, but they're just so people want you to notice them, right? They want you to have an opinion on them. So they're very free flowing with their gifts, and because obviously they want you to have a good impression about the brand, so you can mention them eventually somewhere in your writing, and it keeps you in check because yeah, like I said, you have to know everyone, you have to know what you want, you have to have an opinion on things basically. So as a writer, you genuinely need to be an opinionated person from the inside. When you see something, you have to have the ability of A, forming opinion, B, jotting it down, C, finding resources, the correct images that go with it. You should have the ability to sell, because not all articles are just about or the insides of Mason Margiela. No, not every article is that. It's also about 5 top trending products for you to invest in, the blah, 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 blah. So you need to have the ability to write, to aspire as well as sell. And the cons are, it requires a lot of patience, of course. Like I've, in those 3 lines, I've described my daily process of how I churn out an article. So it takes time. You have to care about things. So if you're a person like me who doesn't care about too many things in life, you have to change that, because you have to start caring about things now, because you have to know, you have to research, and even if you don't care from the inside, you just have to be diplomatic. You get what I mean? And money rolls in a bit later. This as a profession, I know I just dropped a bomb over here right now, but money will come in a bit later eventually, because organizations will need to trust you with your words and how responsible you are as a human being. So it takes some time for you to start minting that money. But you can always use your ability to write and inspire for copywriting, and copywriting clients pay you like a bombshell. I've had clients pay me 1 dirham per word for things that we write. So you can start making money by copywriting eventually. Editorial money will roll in later, but when it does, it's an amazing package with all the perks, and it's the glamorous life you probably dream of. So like Jane from The Bold Type on Netflix, if you guys watch that show, so that profession is pretty much like that, with a bit more commercial touch to it. Okay, so 6 of my biggest achievements in 2021 last year and this year was the fact that I was able to publish my first ever article in print. It was about something I love, very fresh out of university. Topic I chose was to write about trends. It's how juvenile, but it was pretty nice. It was very good. Then eventually, after a few months, I got the chance to interview Super Buddha. He is an NFT artist. He's really huge on Instagram. You can check him out. He does NFT art. And while he was coming to Dubai, he sold a painting, an NFT painting of, can you just guess the amount? It was 1 million dirhams while he was over here for a week. So these people are huge. They're aspirational. You talk to them. I mean, you're like blown out. When you just speak to them for 5 minutes, you're going to get inspired. The other interview I did was with Sophie. I'm sure literally if you open your Instagram, you can see her filter on your like stories page. It's if you've seen Kylie use her filter a lot, Kylie Jenner. so I got to interview her on her social media strategy, how she got here, her time with Kylie, how she got noticed, XYZ. Pretty cool also. The other one was the Papa Don't Preach interview, which was also super huge. Because I got to do it in the comfort of my own home, literally humped up to you right now, speaking to her like that. The fact that I got to write about my favorite designer, one of my favorite designers, and also the fact that she gifted me something was very nice. But that was that. Then, so this was my initiative also, Shubhika, and even this one, Arab Fashion Week. So I emailed Arab Fashion Week and I said that I'm a writer and I want to be a part. What can you do? Blah, 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 blah. Use the right words, everything. And then they gave me VIP access to the show. And Harper's Bazaar lifted that article as well as Esquire Middle East. And that was really nice because your words are no longer just passion. They're getting recognized by huge publications, historic publications they're very inspiring, these publications, and the people who sit in them. And then the last achievement I'd like to speak about was literally just, I think a couple of weeks back, was that I was able to crack a commercial deal with a brand called Beautifect. They're based in the UK and they're listed in Harrods. They display and they sell their products in Harrods and in Unas over here in Dubai. So it's that vanity little box thingy, and I was able to get them to pay to be a part of my articles. So that was one of my biggest achievements, because my company no longer saw me as a aspiring 22-year-old. They saw me as someone who has the ability to sell, which is great, because once you start bringing in money, they're going to be easy with money on you. So yeah, I think this is it. Yeah. Is there anything else left on the next
Fantastic, Vama. No, I mean, there's so much left, but so inspiring, Vama. You must have inspired so many people, and I'm also so inspired now. I feel, my God, you kids do so much in just like 22 years of your life. It's unimaginable for us, at least. I think Vama, truly very inspiring, very promising, and Vama here, raring to go ahead. All the best to you. Thank you for doing this. But hang around, we're going to come back in the end. And anything from anyone else while I take little time to change the slide? I would love to hear from the rest of the team or anybody. Krish, anyone, anybody?
Oh, someone said hands off. That guy said it again. Thank you so much. I'm seeing your comments.
Yeah, but I need to add, Vama, because Poonam says, and I remember you from 5 years back. And you were quite focused even back then. But when I look at your ability to articulate your confidence and your focus, and not just for you, I'm talking to Rajvi and I'm talking to Ria as well. If you've accomplished all of this at 22, I wonder what would you be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30. It's exhilarating and terrifying and wonderful all at once. So well done for accomplishing all of this at 22, you said, right?
22, yes, 22.
I'm sure your mom's super proud. Back to you, Poonam. But a question from you, Poonam, if I may. At ISD, most students go through 4 internships. There's a standard format. They do the first, what is called observership, apprenticeship, internship, a capstone project, and eventually they're ready for their final placement. In case of the students in fashion communication and styling, I see most of them have over 6 to 9 internships. How does that happen?
I did play the devil's advocate here. Sometimes, I just make them do all the internships that they want to do while they're studying, though it's not the guideline at ISD, but I have broken some rules from my side as well. And I make sure that if they want to do it, they do it. And I go out to fight with whoever I have to get them to do it. There's definitely a lot of pressure when a student goes out to do it, because, these girls who actually balance things, they need to be really great people who can balance both studies as well as, work at some place, to be able to be smart enough to get something which helps them to do a part-time job, realize their value and offer them that. I think these are great experiences, so why would someone want to offer me a job while I'm studying and I'm only giving you 4 hours? When that happens, I'm sure there is something about you that that clicks, right? So I think that creates a lot of real positive impact to our students. But of course, you can ask Rajvi. I used to say, I'm going to fire you from that job if you don't do this. I'm going to fire you from that job. And so many dhamkis I've given her. But she's somebody who's gone ahead and done that. Same with Ria. Oh my God, from day one, she met Shazil, and then from there it continued. I'm going to Hyderabad, I'm going here, I will finish this project. I say, you are going to finish the project first. You manage that, and they've all managed it. And of course, when we went virtual, it really was slightly easier, I would say. The opportunities increased, they could handle two things. But I think also my students are the type, there are a type that do fashion communication. So they just do it.
What's that type? I want to know.
I don't know. I think I should use Vama to help me out with words for that type.
What did she say? What was the type you're looking at? What did you say?
I said somebody who juggles many things, a maverick, or maybe a multi-hyphenate, I call them.
Oh, right. So, just like a doer, just getting things done, like a doer.
Yeah, probably, yeah. So doer is equivalent to design, right? So that's what it is for us. Yeah. So on that note, I think I should go to the next doer, and that is, of course, Ria. Ria, here is a shoot that everybody is absolutely enchanted with. I mean, I got feedback also. And you told me the shoot happened in a very unusual surrounding at the Fool Market in Dadar, amidst so much chaos. I want you to tell me, through this shoot, a day in a life of a stylist. What does it involve? So Ria, it's yours now.
Yeah. Okay, so this is quite a fun shoot. I mean, who doesn't like being around flowers, like hundreds and thousands of flowers? So this brand is basically called as Kanakwali, and it's a Chennai-based brand. It's embroidered with pure gold, and so the price goes very high. And so you have to be very careful when you have such clients who cater to a very high-class audience, and their products are so delicate that even when you're roll pressing it, or even when you're tying a pin, you have to be like so careful about everything. So this shoot started basically early in the morning. Woke up at 5 a.m. as usual, went to the set, and then made sure the arrangements are done. So that day, oh, by the way, Poonam ma'am, there was Falguni on the shoot. Our student from USD, she was interning with us.
Yes,
and,
I know.
We had her, this was her first shoot.
Sophomore, yeah.
Yeah, with us. So also like delegating tasks is very important when you're working, because you can't be doing everything by yourself. And so there were almost like 25 saris, and there were so many flowers. So there was a red section, there was a white section, and then there was a yellow section. So there's moguras and roses. And then how you sort of decide which saris with which set is also very important. Then the jewelry. So we usually like, you see those gajras. We've literally made hearts full with the gajras, if you see on the left image. So that's a hack. And also stacking jewelry together, layering it, and all of that. And then you move on, you make sure the shots are coming correct. You're always on the screen, making sure the sari is seen properly. And every minute detail matters, because this is a product shot. And plus a campaign. So everything needs to come in a flow. And all that. And then
and Ria, you said that you had to be really up early. There was some chaos that happened. You had to manage that as well, right? So is that always something? There's always chaos on the set. There's always chaos on the set when we are doing shoots in ISD. So what about you?
Yeah, always. So sometimes what happens is you have so many blouses, and maybe the model has gone a size up or down, and then there's a fitting issue, and then this always happens. Or you have to be ready with your entire production kit, because my production kit is literally a Pandora's box. I have everything in it, from safety pin to your body tape to anything. You ask me for a lotion also, I will have it, and I'm so sure of it. I always keep things with me handy, because life of a stylist is as such. Your styling kit is your most important thing. You need to have it. Without that, your chaos is going to be your chaos. You can't solve anything then.
Fantastic. And that was the styling kit that Mohan sir introduced you in writing school. We used to keep telling them, where's your styling kit? Where's your styling kit? The styling kit, like Ria says, has everything. And then she said you could, you sometimes have to stitch it or do something, mend it. So, we also teach you these things. There's a lot of DIY involved in the course when I said you don't make products, but that doesn't mean you also do a lot of things that you can make. And also we sometimes also teach you draping, because style through drape is also something that we help you do. Sometimes you just have to create a headgear or, put the sari in a certain way or think of a new style. So I think that is also very, very integral as a part of your fashion communication styling program. So thanks, Ria. And, very beautiful, enchanting work. And also you must realize there's always going to be a lot of courage and determination, a lot of grit behind the glamour is what I always say is a fashion communicator. And on that note, I want to, of course, Ria, there's also some of these are her other projects. Some very, very memorable ones are the ones that she did with, especially the Tokyo Olympics, where she, did the official cheer song with Ananya Birla and A.R. Rahman. But of course, we have less time, so we will not go into the details of this. She's also been, trotting across the country while in the pandemic. And on that note, I want to move on to, this was also another of her brides today, where they did a completely new radical look on brides of India, and they called it Dark Temptation.
Bride, yeah.
Yeah, a goth bride, and goth is so popular amongst all you youngsters. So this is the new age goth bride. Who knows, we may just be seeing this happen in reality. She was always involved in a lot of extracurricular activities at ISD. She was part of the council. So Ria is also someone who juggled a lot, was always a doer. So this is part of her, journey at ISD. Yeah, so now I want to move on to Rajvi. Okay, Rajvi, you do all of these things. You're still our student and you're constantly under the pressure. But, you are one person who's done so much during her entire 3 years in the specialization. You've left no stone unturned to meet work and do so many things. You've always challenged, whether it was pandemic, non-pandemic. You always managed to get an internship. There's not a single semester where you've not worked in the industry. And especially, I want to go back to your work with Elle Magazine. I think that was a fairly prestigious one and a nice internship that you had many great outcomes from there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that intense experience at Elle? Go all out and tell us about this shoot. Yes.
So Elle firstly has been my favorite internship so far, and it was like a full-time office internship. So thank God for online college, because I used to attend college while I was in like pitch meetings at Elle with the editor, and I'm presenting something, but then one of my sirs will ask me for something, so I'll be like, okay, I need to switch. So it was super chaotic, but I think everyone in that team was so supportive of me. I was like the kid out there because I was like the youngest member of the family, and they were like, oh no, we have to take care of her. But that brings me to the shoot. The shoot was one hell of a shoot. It was amazing, and the speciality about the shoot was the theme was to explore different and shifting shapes as we term beauty, because the beauty standards are changing. So we took a non-linear approach. We had models come from different backgrounds. They each had their own struggles. Here, one you can see, one was on a wheelchair, one had vitiligo. There was a transgender model. We had models in different shapes and sizes. So here we were trying to approach this whole gender and social norm dynamic that society has put in front of us, and how we're trying to break those shackles. And, it was wonderful because while we were working on this shoot, on set, we were simultaneously working to create content for the website and the print magazine. So not only was I juggling college with it, I was juggling magazine work with it too. And when you're on set, there's bound to be like set this massive where like we have 7 models. There's bound to be someone who's going to be late. So you have like that 1 hour that you have to fix in with another model, so that you do not delay your time, because you have a studio for some hours only. So there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes. And believe me when I say that some of these clothes were like really heavy and you have to lift it and help them wear it. It's tedious, but when you see the outcome right in front of you, you're going to love it. And to support such a cause is also quite wholesome. And my next shoot, I think, is possibly
Hold on, Rajvi. So I think I must congratulate you on this powerful representation of diversity. You really bring that extremely important thought that we focus on in your education industry is, of course, fashion as a voice for social change. Fashion just not frivolous, no frivolity allowed, but you should always bring meaning to your work. So I think this shoot really represents that, and many, of course, others that you all do in the classroom. Rajvi is someone also who will teach you to work smart. So learn from her. She's been very smart about how she's navigated school life. And that brings me to the last bit of this section. That is her work with one of the most promising celebrities that we have in India. And she is none other than Alia Bhatt. Rajvi was part of the shoot, the cover shoot that Alia did with Elle. So yes, Rajvi, let's hear it from you.
So firstly, when I found out who's going to be the cover star and that we're going to be doing a shoot on so-and-so date, I was really excited. And the first thing I wanted to do was like tell Poonam ma'am that who it is. But unfortunately, you cannot reveal the person to anyone other than your team. So I really had to try and control myself every time I attended class, like, okay, I cannot open my mouth. But I think this was the shoot of a lifetime to work with her. And she's such an amazing person too. When you think of stars, you think that, okay, they'll not be adjusting and, they'll have a different way of working on set, but that was not the case. I think we had creative freedom. We tried so many different things, and, we had got clothes from Gucci and Ralph Lauren and Valentino, and it was quite a process. And this entire experience was surreal. These are just a couple of behind the scenes pictures because it was such a tight set that, honestly, you're not allowed to bring out your phone outside. So, but the whole idea, okay, so here's a picture of us making her wear like crystallized gloves. And that was so tedious. It took us half an hour. And then we eventually decided we didn't want to go with it. So, these are like little things that you have to keep in mind while you're working on set, different hats. And then, we realized if we had applied Vaseline on the fingers, we probably have slipped it in easily. So I think when I was doing styling and when I was working out there, not only did I realize what hard work is, but like Poonam mentioned, what is smart work, where, you have to have hacks, or like Riyad really mentioned, jugaad, because that really helps and saves time. And, being on set is a great feeling. You're literally creating magic. And while the picture behind the scenes may not be the best, but when you see the final fruit, it's even better. And to see that you work on the shoot and it's right on the cover, it's amazing.
Fantastic, Rajvi. Thank you for talking about the entire wholesome experience that you've had at Elle, and especially shooting with celebrities. And, you've had it. You also, it's a lot with how you manage, I mean, it's true. Styling with celebrities, let me tell you, is all about celebrity management. You're lucky you have someone like Alia who's very easygoing and, helpful, but then there are lots and lots of stories and you have to stick to that. Okay. You have to stick through that. That is something that you have to take away from some of these girls that they're talking about. That is it from our side. We've tried to really, put everything together so that we can tell you the whole large, canvas of the fashion communication and styling program, and also bring to you about it right from the horse's mouth, our students, our alums, the amount of work that they've done. I really want to thank Ria, Vama, and Rajvi for removing this time for us, for being here with all of us today. And I feel so proud and so overjoyed with all of you. Really, it's sometimes very difficult to express, but in conversations like this, you realize there's such a lot that happens and so much that you all do. So, seriously, fantastic. Congratulations. You girls are really doing a great job. And obviously, you're unleashing the power of a fashion communicator, the power to influence society, culture, world, make people happy, make yourself happy. You bring this strong force to such good use. And I think all of us at ISDI are very, very proud because you're part of creating this change for future in a fabulously vibrant industry like fashion. So that is it from me and my students, all of us here. Vama, Ria, Rajvi, thank you so much. We will meet again. If you guys want to know a little bit, or if you want to just, not a little bit, if you want to keep in touch with us and have updates on what's going on in school and also what's going on with the alumni network or generally things around, do follow us on Pulse of Fashion. That is the official Instagram handle for fashion communication and styling. And if there's anything more, you can write to me as well. Poonam@isd is my email. Thank you once again, and hope that we shall see you soon more often. I hope that was, I mean, that's it from our side. I hope we didn't take too much of your time, and
This
joy
time
brought to you.
spent, Poonam, and I can see some messages on the chat box. The students are clearly mesmerized, and there's no better way to learn. And I for sure can see Sufi is totally enchanted, and I'm sure so are the others. Sufi, where are you joining us from?
I'm from Surat, Gujarat.
Fantastic. And Mumbai can't wait enough to see you soon.
Neither can I.
All right. So Poonam must be so proud as a founding head of a school such as this. I mean, the curriculum that you made, of course, the Parsons curriculum, but really the way it mapped out for the students, and the taste of the test of something is in its eating, or the pudding is in its eating. The test of a department is in the alum and the kind of work that they do, the confidence that they demonstrate, the ability to look into their future straight in the eye, and really nothing is unstoppable for each of them. I mean, I'm having to pinch myself to believe they're all 22 and younger. But having said that, Poonam, you have an announcement to make, which you've been saving right till the end. And this is for all of the students who are attending the session today, exclusively for them. Tell us, what have you got by way of, can I call it a competition, or is it not?
Yes. So first, I want to say that, yes, I do feel, when I was creating this program, I know that something great is going to come out of it. But when I see the students, I just can't believe they're so good, and I remember, and I find all the talks, in
I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there, because I remember when we talked about this session, you said, I'm going to get 6 of my students. And if it was 6 of your students, this would have been a 3-hour show, right? They don't make movies for 3 hours any longer. So imagine,
and they're just snippets, and I sometimes look back and I say, oh my God, all that shouting, those thesis classes, was it really worth it? Was it the thing, or was it like these girls were always, actually these girls are always fantastic, and also very mischievous. So it's been a pleasure, being in this journey with them. That's, I think, one of the reasons you continue teaching and stick around teaching. But you make such beautiful memories with these beautiful girls. So
we will have the other 3 students come back in part 2 of the session today. We are still trying to figure out what's a good time to do part 2 of this program. Possibly we meander through the class 12th examinations of CBSE, ISC, HSC, and the rest of the multiple exams the country writes. But so we'll do part 2, and we'll have another set of 3 students from Poonam's department talk to you about their experiences in fashion styling and communication. So Sufi, watch out for more. Back to you, Poonam, to tell us about. I'm not revealing.
Yes. So actually, quickly, I just want to talk about this. It's not really a competition, but we look at it as a large, it's an experience. It's an experience that you can have at ISTE if you're really passionate about styling. If you want to say, if you want to know, really test your own, probably. I don't want to say, but it's a competition with yourself. You test your own power as to how good you can be at this, and also test if this is something that you really enjoy or don't. It's called Style It Up 2022. We are going to be bringing this to you virtually. We've become experts in delivering things virtually. So this is going to come to you virtually this year once again. It's something also I want to say is really largely carried on by the students of fashion communication and styling, so it's very little to do with us, but a lot to do with them. So you're going to have them as your mentors, and you're going to really come back to see how you can take up a challenge. This year, we are going to look at color washed as a micro theme by which you will be able to put in your entries. The process of entering is going to be, probably communicated to you soon. And we're really looking forward to having you, hosting you for this event. And let's see we've shown you what our students can do. Let's see what you bring on table. So yeah, over to you, Krish. I think you have something more to say about it as well, right?
I'm sorry, can I just say one little thing?
Yeah, sure, Mama. Go ahead.
Is there like, I would like to send this question to the parents and the students. Is there anything you want to know from our side, like from profession wise, if we can help you with anything? Like if you have a question, we're more than happy to answer right now if you do.
Yeah, sure, Mama. I think, that is what we thought about it, that if we have time for a Q&A round, I don't know, I'm not too sure, but we thought there would be something like a Q&A. And if not, I'm sure they'll mail it to us and we'll mail it to you guys and connect you. Maybe sometimes I also feel, I was just having something in mind, we should do a live with you on Instagram and get them to ask your questions and answers. So I think that'll also be a great engagement. But definitely if there's anything and, if you can take it up right now, we're open to it. But Style It Up is something that we want to announce right now and really hoping to see all of you there.
I think more than questions, Poonam, I see a whole lot of compliments here.
I was just going to say that.
How much they're inspired. There's one student, it's all about when is part 2 coming. I feel like we're doing a Netflix series here. But having said that, we will do the part 2. Krish is going to make an announcement on part 2. Like I said, we're thinking maybe some of you could write what's a good time to do the next one. Use a chat box because we are always guessing with all these exams in CBSE and the rest of it happening in class 12. But possibly maybe a month from now, Krish, Poonam, does that sound good?
Yeah, we can think about it, but I think there are lots and lots of compliments. That's great. That's amazing. Vama, anyways, a lot of people are always inspired by you. Like I tell you, even in the current sophomores and all, So I think you have a really big role ahead of you, I guess. So keep in touch and, I'll probably try to do something on Instagram as well. So let's see if we can.
Krish, over to you for the closing session and to all the young students, Vama, Ria, Rajbi, thank you so much for joining us from different parts of the world. Poonam, thank you so much for conducting this session. Always inspiring and always wonderful to spend an evening with you. I look forward to many more. To all our students who've joined from across the country, thank you for joining. I hope some of the parents could join as well. Yes, we will have the recording posted on our YouTube channel. You will also get a thank you mail for having attended today's session, which will have the link to today's video. So for any of you who wishes to be inspired all over again, you can always go